and welcome to the Changing Rhythms podcast. Thank you for joining us. We're your hosts. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Bethany.
This podcast explores life's changing rhythms. And last time we talked about reasons for making a career change. We discussed what's working well for Bethany and what's not working for her in her current occupation. And we dug deeper into my experience and discussed how each of my previous jobs taught me something about what I really wanted for a long-term career. Today, we're exploring what it takes to find your new direction. And since I'm a coach, we thought it would be cool for me to coach Bethany during this episode. My coaching method relies on my client's own knowledge and brilliance to uncover greater self-awareness. So in a way, Bethany is going to learn what she already knows, but what isn't at the forefront of her mind right now. Bethany, why is it important to you to work out finding your new direction?
I think I need a starting point. So even if I don't know exactly where I'm headed, it'll give me a general idea of the direction and possibly what kind of preparation I need in order to move in that direction. I realize things could change. I realize that I'm not going to get necessarily a step-by-step laid out map, but just a starting point I'd like to have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When we wrap up our conversation today, what specifically do you hope to take away from this coaching experience?
So I'm not sure, but I would like to have a more clear picture. I don't know clear picture of what, but I feel like just in going through this, I will have clarity, even if it's on what other questions I need to ask. But I would hope to come away with some degree of clarity on moving forward.
Yeah. So it's important because you need a starting point and you're looking for some clarity after we're done here today. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So what brings you to this point of decision about your career change?
I think like we talked about in the last episode, I'm at the point where I realize that where I am career-wise is no longer sustainable. Like financially it's sustainable, but in every other aspect, it's not sustainable. And I would like to make a change before, I don't know how to put it. You know how they say leave them wanting more? I'd like to leave before I'm asked to leave. So that's kind of where I am right now.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. What do you think you'll leave for people to want more of as you walk away?
Like my dedication, my hard work, the sincere desire that I have for any student that's in front of me to do well, whatever that means for them, because it looks very different for each student. And that's kind of one of the problems that I have is that on the surface, you know, so the higher ups in education say that they realize that all students are different and they need different things. They say that, but then the way students are measured, the way students are evaluated is exactly the same. So you can't say that I realize students are different, but they all need to be able to do the same thing. You know, because that, to me, that's unrealistic. And it doesn't allow that student to really find out where are they really great, and let's help them grow in that area. And that's not to say that the other areas that they're not great in are not important, but I feel like if you capitalize on where a student is great, then those other areas will come up as well. And right now I teach intellectually disabled students, but they're still people. They still have personalities. They still have emotions. They still have dreams and desires. And I feel like um, that's not readily acknowledged. I don't even, to a degree, I don't even feel like people really think that about them, which is disheartening to me because they're great. You know, they're a great group of kids. So, like, what I would want my students is for me to leave and they still feel like Miss Watson really cared about me. You know, she really wanted the best for me. And for administration, I would want them to leave knowing that this was a dedicated person who really did their best, not necessarily perfectly, but did their best for the students and for the school. So, yeah.
Yeah. Why is it important for you, for the administration? Why is it important to you that they know you did your best in your time there?
Hmm. I think because I have several times seen my reputation precede me, and I found out later. And so I want to maintain that good reputation. You know, like again, I didn't know that certain people knew other people. I didn't know that I was a topic of discussion until later. Um, but having had that happen several times, and thankfully in a positive way, but I'm sure it's happened in a negative way too. I just don't know about it. Um, I just, that's what I want to leave, you know, is a positive view of what I did. I guess because I would hate for me to feel like I'm working as hard as I can, doing the best that I can, and it not be viewed as that. You
Hmm.
know, like if I feel like I'm bringing my A game, and someone else would evaluate that as a D game,
Hmm.
like that I don't, yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah, that would be hard. There's a lot of awkward silences during coaching, guys, so bear with us. When it comes to that discrepancy between your A game and someone else's evaluation of it potentially being a D game, what do you want to do about that?
I don't know that there's anything I can do about it other than, which I don't know, maybe this is not realistic or helpful, but I feel like if I do a great enough job, you can't evaluate it as a D game. That might not be reasonable, but that's my thinking is if I do, you know, a great enough job, you can't evaluate it as less than that.
Mm-hmm. When has that proven true in your experience?
Honestly, almost always. Like, that's not to say that every person has always thought I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. However, I feel like the vast majority of them recognized or evaluated me in a manner similar to the way I evaluated myself. And so, even if it's not everyone, if it's the majority, I'm happy with that. And I do feel like overall, that has been the case. Like, I can only think of two people who did not agree with me. And neither of those people, how can I say this? It didn't end well for them. Like, their career didn't end well.
Mm.
Like, they had issues and things going on. And so it's like you kind of take them with a grain of salt because they were a mess themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the vast majority of people that I've worked with, I feel like they would agree with my self-assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are the consequences or outcomes of someone disagreeing with your self-assessment?
If it's someone whose opinion I value, and by value, I don't necessarily mean that they're like a close friend. I just mean as in I I give weight to it. You know, I guess I don't know if I'm saying that the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. Then most of the time it makes me reevaluate myself
Hmm.
and like, okay, so what can I do better? How can I work harder?
So, am I understanding you well? You're saying that depending on perhaps the level of relationship, you might be triggered to change something about yourself to improve your performance if a person were to disagree with your self-assessment that you've done a good job.
No, not my relationship with them.
Okay.
Just whether or not I give credence to what they say.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if it's someone who I don't respect, I don't respect their work ethic, then I feel like they don't really have grounds to dispute my self-assessment because their their standards are lower than mine.
Mm.
And so if you have a lower standard than I hold for myself, then you're not, then I just feel like you don't see the same, you don't have, oh goodness, this is difficult. Like, I feel like you don't you don't find value in the same places that I find value,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so I will listen to it. And if I think it's valid, then, you know, I will make a change. But if I feel like you're just saying that so that you have something to say, then no, I'm not going to bend over backwards to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, if you're someone who I respect your work ethic, I respect the dedication that you have to your craft, then I'm definitely going to give it more weight and look at what do I need to change so that I meet the standard that you're now holding out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it really doesn't matter my relationship with them so much as how I view them.
Your level of respect for them.
Yes.
Yeah. You had mentioned, and I heard the passion in your voice as you described the situation. You want your students to know that you've cared about them, that you do care about them, even if you were to walk away from your teaching position. And you want the administration to know that you've worked hard and you've held yourself to a high standard. Is that right?
Yes.
So now my question is, do you and the administration share a similar standard for your work?
Hmm. This is a difficult question to answer without getting into trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer it without potentially causing a problem. Okay, let me see. Are you saying, do I think that they agree with how I assess myself? Are you asking that? Because it doesn't quite seem like it.
Let's be really straight here, and you cannot answer if it doesn't feel safe to do so. But you mentioned your standard for yourself and others holding a standard for you, and this issue of valuing the opinion of those whom you respect. So if you respect the administration or not, I'm asking to understand what your thoughts are around your standard and their standard, and whether their standard holds value for you because of your level of respect for them. But we can go a different route if we need to.
I think we should. I think we should.
Okay.
Now, maybe, once I'm no longer there, I can give a more honest answer. But I don't want to say anything that can be misinterpreted or misconstrued, or could be very well taken exactly as I mean it. I just yeah, I don't think that's a question that I should answer right now.
No problem. Coaching tends to get in the weeds a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's totally acceptable. Let me redirect. You were talking about your concerns about what would happen if you leave your position, when you leave your position, with your students and with the administration. What are you learning about yourself as you make those statements about expressing those concerns? What are you learning about yourself?
I think I'm learning that I care more about other people's opinions than I thought I did. And not just that, but how my reception of that dictates what I do. Like, I don't think I was really aware of how much I'm driven. Well, no, yeah, I think I knew it, but I don't know. I don't think I realized the degree to which um, other people's perceptions drive how hard I work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. To what degree are other people's perceptions of you? To what degree are they affecting your decision about a career change?
Um, at this point, they're not. At this point, only in as much as I want to leave the right way, whatever the right way is. I don't know what the right way is right now. You know, maybe the right way is finishing out the school year. Maybe the right way, I don't know what that means right now, but I do want to leave the right way. But that's about it. It's at a point where I just, yeah, it's like I said before, it's not sustainable to continue to try to meet the demands or expectations of others, um, in this position, because it's not fulfilling. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like in the long run I'm doing what I hope to do.
Okay. Yeah. As you consider a career change, how much, what do I want to say? How much will your decision, I'm sorry, I'm going to edit all this out. As you consider a career change, how much will this issue of considering what people think about you, how much will that affect your next role, your choice of a next role? Does that make sense?
It does. And I actually have thought about that some. Um, and I think that's just part of who I am. And so I'm always going to care about how I am evaluated and assessed. And I'm always going to to want it to be the best that it can be. But I think moving forward, um, I probably want to do something that is less dependent upon others, because right now a lot of what I do is dependent upon others, right? Depends upon, to a certain degree, my students. It depends upon, to a certain degree, the paraprofessionals I have in the room with me. Like it's not just me and what I'm doing. And so I really think that my next position, um, will be not that I will work in isolation, because I mean, I'll probably still have to work on a team with other people, but I feel like it will be less dependent upon other people. I think that's what I'm looking for, is something that is not so, in order for me to do my job, I need you to do yours,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, yeah, I definitely think I'm looking for more of that.
Yeah. Well, we are at a point of wrapping up this coaching portion. And I just want to ask you, what action steps do you envision for yourself going forward? What will you do with this information?
Um, I think it will make me more conscious of my reaction to things and to people. Um, because now I'm aware, or I'm more aware of what's driving me. And so I don't know, things that previously may have upset me, maybe they won't upset me as much, which maybe will make my remaining time more palatable, less stressful, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That sounds good. So, how did we do, Bethany? Did we achieve the outcome you wanted for this session?
Uh, well, yeah, I mean, yes, like I would say I have more clarity, even if it's just around what motivates me or what motivates my actions. I definitely have more clarity around that. Um, for direction, I feel like, and I kind of was here already, but it's okay. I feel like it reinforces the direction in terms of like what kinds of jobs I'm looking for. And it just kind of reaffirms that I probably want something that's not as reliant on other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I think we did pretty good.
That sounds good. What's our question of the day for our listeners?
Okay. So, our question of the day is, as I went through the coaching process, did you ask yourself some of these same questions? And if you did, what insights did you find? Or did you find that it just led to more questions? So that's the question of the day is, did you do the process with us? What insights? Was it helpful? Or do you just have more questions? And then Rebecca, because you've been through this, I guess my question would be, because you have been through the process of a career change, do you still regularly do these type of reflective exercises?
Yeah, I do. But it looks differently. But I try to sit down every now and then, maybe during my weekly planning or something, where I'm setting up my planner for the week, or every few months, or whatever feels like the right moment to reevaluate. I try to sit down and just think about whether this work is still serving me, whether these routines that I've designed for my life are still serving me, and equipping me to serve the people around me, equipping me to show up in my community. And I want to do that regularly, because I just acknowledge that there are seasons in life, and we will come to the end of each season. Nothing lasts forever. So there's going to be a time when it's appropriate to make adjustments. And that's one of the big things that I work with my clients on, is acknowledging that we can plan, we can craft our life to be exactly the way we want it to be, but we should anticipate that it will be necessary to make adjustments. And I try to live that out in my own life as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, how about you? As we did the coaching process, are these questions that you've thought about before? Are these insights that were new to you or familiar?
Well, again, I think to a certain degree, I had thought about them, but definitely not to. It was more ephemeral, right? It was just kind of there, and yeah, I was aware of it, but to actually put it in a context and think about it specific to this situation, um, yeah, that was new. But I feel like it was helpful. So yeah, and it did lead to, more questions that I need to answer for myself. But I think that's still a good thing because it's making me examine where I am and the direction that I want to go in. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the really cool part about coaching. You always come away with something, and it's rarely what you expect to gain. But in the coaching workshops and working with individual clients, this is what we're really putting in, is that sitting down, taking out the time to look at these things and think about these things that maybe come up frequently, but really do something with them and move forward in them. So thanks for doing that with me today, Bethany. Thanks for being willing to be so vulnerable. And to our listeners, we do want to hear from you, your answers to this question. Did you ask yourself these same questions, and what insights did you find? So go ahead and email us your response at changingrhythmspodcast@gmail.com to tell us your answer, or leave your response in the YouTube comments. And next time we'll discuss counting the cost of making a career change. So continue to think about your own next steps and send us any questions or concerns that came up, and we'll respond to you in the next episode. We look forward to continuing to explore with you. So keep listening and stay healthy and safe. Until then, bye.